Hey folks, sorry I'm a little congested once again, but oddball back here. Decided to do this video. We're gonna do a 16th ounce black jig head, and the colors I'm gonna do on this one is going to be more of a OD green or olive drab for some of y'all. Got some of this OD marabou, got a little bit of black feather, then I got some of this olive and black chenille. This is really good for like dark water or darker water situations, because in my experience, whenever the water is a little bit more murky and muddy, bright colors tend to scare crappie and stuff off, but because they're sight predators. So something that's a little bit more just gonna show contrast as opposed to straight up just stick out and be brilliant. The darker colors work better for darker water. So with this, we're going to do that. And I know I look a whole lot different than I have on previous videos. I accidentally messed up my beard the other day, so cut that down. It'll be back in like a month, so no worries. But we're going to start with our body wraps. Start at the base of the head. We're going to roll it back. Definitely haven't tied one this dark on here yet. I wanted to use a green pumpkin jig head, but my green pumpkin paint decided to be, or my green pumpkin powder coat paint decided to be problematic, because it's such a heavy bodied paint that it tends to be more problematic than useful sometimes. It just kind of comes with the territory. Your heavier body paints, they tend to run more and shift more during like the baking process, because whenever I do this, it's powder coat, and I buy this Protect stuff. They got it labeled as a green pumpkin. It's very fine powder. Very fine powder. But I'll sit and I'll take my heat gun. I've seen people use like a plumber's torch to do this, but lead has such a low melting point that a torch can cause really bad hot spots in it, and the lead will melt in spots where it doesn't need to. But using something like one of these heat guns is a more even heat distribution, so you get a more even heating it, or I say it. You get what I'm saying. Heats it more evenly. That way you can just dip and let it go, let it cool off. After I've done a batch of these, I'll sit and I've got a little jig that I've made out of some angle iron and some gasket silicone that I bought at local automotive store. Like, I frequent O'Reilly's. That's just my go-to, even though I got an AutoZone like right by me. But I'll sit and I'll bake them I'll have them standing up straight up in the jig. I have them in that jig sitting straight like this. That way if any of that paint wants to run, it'll run down the shaft of the hook. So it's all good. Whenever you bake them, it makes the powder coat more durable. So it ends up being very, very useful. Alright, so we're going to lay down black first, because we want that on top. I didn't need just a whole lot. So you measure out. We're going to tie that in. A few loose wraps. Alright, and then we'll do some tighter wraps. And get that rolled over. Oh. And I have to say, I made a dang good meal tonight, so I'm a little sluggish. But you know how it is when you got a full belly. Alright, bury that. Just a few wraps to get that cut in buried. I like to bury it just to make things a little bit cleaner. Alright, now for some of this olive drab. I obviously don't need this big chunk of it. Actually, really, all I need is that right there. It's actually a perfect amount. Lucky, lucky me. Alright, measure that out. Lay it down. And we tie. Alright. Beautiful. Throw that in the old jar of scraps. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of my flashing material in here if I can keep a hold of it. And I'm just going to use a strand of this black. Just plain black. Nothing with striping, nothing too fancy. It's got a little bit of shine to it, but not just a lot, but it'll be enough to catch just a little bit of light coming through. Fold it in half, cut. One more time. Got them roughly even. Ooh, buddy. Alright. Good enough. Alright, so, like always, I'll take two pieces. I'll come back. I'm going to lay them over the line. Make sure they're about even. And then we're going to tie them in on the side. Some people like to do this part before they put the feathers in. That way the streamers are more or less on top and they flare out, which I've done them like that on occasion. And it does make for a nice looking bait, but for most of the applications I do, what I'm doing right now is perfectly fine. Because I'm not trying to make jigs and lures that mimic actual fish and stuff. I'm just making something kind of bug-like. Do that again. Wrap that one in. Whoop. Yep. A strand that is trying to be crazy and lay out. Okay. So now for our body material, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to get a little bit more of the olive drab and not as much of the black. I'm going to put the normal amount of black in, but I want more of this olive drab in there, or this green pumpkin, whatever you want to call it. I want more of it because I want that green to show through a lot more. I want that black to be more of the contrasting color and not be overpowering. I want it to be more underlying, I guess. Alright. So, lay those down. Tie them off. And bury those leads. Alright, then we roll it back up to the head. Alright, now we start our body wraps. Now, this is going to make for a fatter lure, but that's okay. I want this to be kind of a chubby bug. want to have a little bit more presence in the water. Not too much, but like I said, I want a chili bug. And I apologize for how dark it is in here. Like, yeah, I've got my overhead light, and I'm doing this at night. At some point, I'm going to get a better setup. Probably when taxes come in, I'm going to invest in some actual, like, lights to shine on this and amp up production quality. But till then, yeah, look at my ugly mug like this. So, with that, we will do our whip finish. When I first started doing this, whip finishing was kind of a weird thing for me because I didn't understand, like, looking at all these tools, I'm like, what the heck is this for? I don't know. And then finally, after watching, I think it was Jim Masura, he makes flies, like fly fishing flies. He's got a lot of good videos. And also, another channel that I like is SDG Lurecraft. I'm thinking, yeah, it's SDG Lurecraft. I've watched a lot of his stuff. He is great at what he does. He's got a phenomenal setup. Highly recommend his channel. Also, Marlon Bates. Now, he's more of like a crankbait maker, but he's got a really good channel. If you like watching bait making videos and stuff like that, like, he's got a lot of useful information and shows a lot of his craft, and it's just cool to watch. I like doing this because it lets me teach, because if I can do this, anybody can. Because anybody that knows me knows I have an attention span about that long. But, ooh, wow, that green pumpkin looks orange under the black light. It's weird. It's almost a rust, coppery orange color. But kind of cool. I like it. Alright. Actually, it was... Oh, that was black. Whoops. Right, and there we have it. Kind of a crazy looking little bug, but I'm sure that'll catch something. Alright, guys. For those of y'all, few subscribers I have, keep a watch out for new videos dropping. Like I said before, I'm going to do different content. Like, at some point I'm going to do a line tying video, or like how I do my knots, or I'm saying I'm also going to do kind of a overview of different things, baits that I like, because I don't just crappie fish, I bass fish too. And we just will go from there. Also going to be adding in the D&D content, because you see my maps and stuff I have back here. If I move just a little bit, this is kind of my nerd section of my workspace. I got my D&D books, I've got some of my board games and different stuff. Just stick with it and we'll have more content coming. Until then, keep fishing. Take it easy.